Since the early 2000s, U.S. military personnel deployed across the American Southwest and Middle East have worked in some of the most isolated desert locations possible, places where the night stretches for miles, and any movement stands out like a threat. Many soldiers believed the only dangers after dark were insurgents, hostile wildlife, or the brutal environment. They learned otherwise. Early reports: strange behavior around the perimeter. The first reports typically seemed harmless: radio crackles with no source, footsteps just beyond the HESCO barriers, shadowy movement too fast to track with night vision, guard dogs refusing to approach certain fence lines. Soldiers described a shape: tall, thin, occasionally moving on all fours, always at the edge of a spotlight's reach. It never triggered base alarms. It never approached like a normal threat. It watched. One MP on a U.S. base in Nevada wrote in his personal log, 2008, "Something's pacing the fence every night. Tall as a man, wrong joints. When I radio it in, static floods the channel." Command chalked it up to feral dogs or nerves. Mimicry. Voices that shouldn't exist. The next stage was calls for help in the night. Men on patrol heard a woman crying from the desert floor, despite the nearest civilian town being 40 miles away. Voices clearly calling names of specific soldiers, please spoken in perfect American English with no accent. Every response team sent to investigate returned confused. No footprints, no bodies, no signs of life. A Marine corporal described it best: "The desert is a dead place. Nothing out there should sound human." Visual contact. A figure. Outside the wire around 2011, reports intensified from newly built observation posts in the Middle East. Thermal imaging caught glimpse of a figure crawling like a person, then standing upright in one fluid motion. No consistent heat signature, like a living thing mimicking the environment. Eye shine like a predator, facing directly into the cameras. Whenever searchlights locked onto it, it vanished. One surveillance operator stated, "It moves like it knows how we track threats. It stays where we can't target it." This was not wildlife behavior. Direct encounters. Gates and guard towers. Some soldiers reported seeing it up close. A thin, pale limb reaching around a bunker corner. Something peeking over the towers far taller than a person should reach. Fast, scuttling across rooftops without making enough noise. A base gate guard in 2014. Looked like a guy at first, but its head was too big, neck too long. It smiled without lips. And then, it wasn't there. Fear spread, but nobody wanted to be labeled unstable. The reports remained unofficial. The dead zone phenomenon bases experiencing sightings shared a pattern. An area where no insects vocalized. Dogs refused to enter radios suffered total static. Soldiers reported an overwhelming sense of being hunted. Patrol logs privately nicknamed these zones. No-go circles, the quiet patch, where it waits. No officer wrote those labels formally, but everyone used them. Disappearances and aftermath. A small number of soldiers vanished during night shifts, officially blamed on desert hazards or accidents. But survivors whispered other theories. One missing soldier was heard screaming his own name days later, over a radio channel that wasn't open. A lost scout's helmet camera showed a black shape running on all fours toward him, just before static. Distorted human voices echoed through the dunes during recovery missions. Bodies, when recovered, were found. Dragged far from base, missing no gear, suggesting no human attacker. With expressions of extreme terror, these incidents were never acknowledged publicly. Why soldiers call it a skinwalker. Rangers, Navajo workers, and local security staff warned soldiers stationed near reservations in the Southwest. Do not whistle into the dark. Do not follow a voice into the desert. Some things out there take your shape to lure others. The troops didn't understand the cultural context. They only recognized a pattern of intelligent predation. So they borrowed the only name they'd heard thrown around, Skinwalker, as shorthand for something that mimics us but is not us. It became a caution word on night shifts. I think the Skinwalker's out there again. Eyes up, don't respond to voices. Stay inside the light. Current status, still unspoken. As of the 2020s, the reports have not stopped. New recordings continue to surface privately. Bases quietly increase nighttime surveillance in silent zones. Soldiers rotate patrols with no explanation, why certain areas are avoided. No command wants to admit there's something out there they can't classify. And yet the watchers still come. A quote from a recently discharged Army specialist. War prepares you for enemies you can see. Nothing prepares you for the ones you can't.